Hey guys, in this video I am going to show you how can I do a shaking effect for a material. For shaking animation I use the graph and timeline. At the bottom you can see the bar. I pull it up. This bar is called timeline. In the timeline we can insert a multiple keyframe for animation. If you hit spacebar then the timeline is start moving. At the right corner you will see start and end. Here I change the end frame to 80. This means my timeline is start 1 to 80, so that basically I have 80 frame for animation. Now I will do all the shake animation inside the graph. So at the right side of the box edge, when this arrow appear, I press right click and click the vertical split and place the middle of the screen. At the right side of the box, I open the render view and at the left side open editor and click on graph editor. At the first look the graph is empty because we do not have any keyframe inserted. So we can add some couple of keyframe in the material of shading menu. So go to the shading menu. First we add a timeline by horizontal split. The timeline is also added in the same way as we did in graph editor. So the timeline is appear. Now we add some keyframe so it will be appear on the timeline and graph editor. I want to give a shaking animation in the Z direction like little up and down moving, which can be done by the Z value in the location of mapping. So now I am going to cursor keep it there and press I to insert keyframe. Now if you select the mapping node, you can see the keyframe is inserted. At the same way I insert the keyframe at the scale of the noise texture. That makes little thinness and thickness in the lining are appear in the animation. All those little motion of this value can be automatically created by graph editor. Similarly, I will also animate some sparkle which can be done by the emission node. So I also insert the keyframe. So for the shaking animation, it will do a little up and down movement, a little zoom in and zoom out, and the sparkle animation. At the layout, I add another window of shading menu so that you don't have to go a shading menu again and again. In the editor type, I select the shading menu, so all this material are appear in the little window. Now if you select the mapping node at the graph editor, you can see material to whom you gave a keyframe. So if you press this down arrow key, you can see all these three XYZ location appear in the graph. The same way the scale value of noise texture also be appear in the graph. So now we want to shaking animation only in Z direction. So I select the Z location. First I create some space and select the Z location from the graph. We can simply grab it by G and you can see particular XYZ location can also be effect on the hologramic material. But I only want Z, so I select the Z location and go to the modifier section. Now I am adding a noise modifier which can simply generate a waveform. Here X and Y location are immediately behind the Z, so I simply hide it so that we cannot select it by mistakenly. Now if I play the animation, it will be change its value by itself. But the value of the difference is very little. So now to increase its movement speed, we can increase the strength value of the noise. I change the strength value to like 20, so now it will change its value more. We can see that it changed its value very quickly. At that time each frame has contained a different value, so it can be very quickly. So to reduce the speed of the value, we can simply increase the scale of the noise texture. I set the scale value to the 10. I think that the value of 10 is reduce the speed too much. So that I just reduce the scale a little so it create the proper animation movement. As the same way we have to give the noisy effect to the scale of the noise texture and emission. This is not as tricky as it looks. there is only one basic concept in this. Whatever you want to animate inside the graph, first insert a keyframe so that we can see that value inside the graph, but this value is constant now, and to give this constant value movement we add a noise modifier so that its value go up and down and it will appear to be animated. So as the same way, select the noise texture and do the same noisy effect. The value of the noise texture is high, like 230, so it will be at the upper side of the graph. Now same way, go to the modifier and add noise modifier. So here I do more movement for the scale, so I just increase the strength like a 100, so it create more movement. So here you can see the value go up and down is very high, and to animate slowly I just increase the scale size. So you can see that a lots of up and down value with that slow speed. We given the speed of its movement. Now let's give the glowing effect for animation, and it will be through by emission node. This same effect has to be repeat again. Actually you can also give this effect in graph editor by manually, but it take time to repeat this movement. And what if you maybe increase the animation time, then it will be a time taking machine and more confusing. So now same way, add the noise modifier, go to modifier, add noise modifier, and change the value whatever you like. So I just set the strength value to 10. You can also provide a value in your own way. If you want a blinking effect too much, then you can increase the strength value. So it is now give more blinking effect. But I just set the value to 10 or maybe a 15. And in the glowing effect case, I do not increase the scale value because it will not look good like this. So I just set the default value 1. Here all three nodes of the animation can be given. So now I don't need an shading node and graph editor. So basically I join the area and bring back to its home layout. So now if I play the animation, we can see that the shaking effect inside the object. So that's how you can create the shaking effect for hologram material. Do not forget to save the file after you made the progress. So in the next episode I will show you how to make a scenery. So meet you in the next class.